Hi, welcome back to our online preparation course for the TOEFL test. In this module, we are going to continue getting prepared for the grammar section of the test. In this video, we are going to be focusing on inversions. So when you are ready, let's get started. Okay, have you ever seen questions like, what is your name? Where are you from? How old are you? Easy, right? Or have you ever seen this sentence, there is a TV? Okay, well, let me tell you, these are inversions, okay? When you saw the word inversion, right, you may have believed that this was something that was complicated, but it is not. The only thing is that you didn't know that they were called inversions. An inversion is just the fact of moving the verb to the subject and the subject to the verb, as we do when we create a question or when we use the structure there is and there are, okay? So I want you to look at these sentences. My name is Alexis. I am from England. I am 25 years old. Okay, so as we have already mentioned in previous videos, the normal order of words is subject plus verb. The subject is my name, the verb is. The subject is I, the verb is am. The subject is I, the verb is am. Okay? So what happens when we create a question? So if you notice, we moved the verb to the subject place and the subject to the verb's place. Okay? So what is your name? Is the verb and your name is the subject. You don't say what your name is. You say what is your name. Okay? So that is an inversion. Okay? Okay. Where are you from? Okay? If you notice, the verb is in the subject's place and the subject is in the verb's place, okay? It is where are you from and not where you are from, okay? So that is an inversion. In this question, again, you have how old are you? Are is the verb and you is the subject. You don't say how old you are, okay? So those are inversions. An inversion is just the movement of the verb and the subject, okay? There is a TV. So if you notice, we have first the verb and then the subject. We don't say there a TV is. We say there is a TV. That is an inversion. But what happens when you have a clause before the question word? Like, for example, in number 1, I don't know. Or in number 2, when I can leave. Or in number 3, do you know? Okay, in that situation, you don't need inversion, okay? So you have the introductory clause, right? And then you don't need an inversion, okay? So let's answer this exercise. You have the lawyer asked the client why blank it. And you have A, did he do? B, did he? C, he did, and D, did, okay? So remember, if you have a clause before the question word, you don't need an inversion. The inversion disappears and everything has to go back to the normal order of words, that is subject and verb. So according to this, the question is, do you have a clause before the question word? Yes, right? The clause is the lawyer asked the client. So in this case, we don't need an inversion. So the answer is C, he did. The lawyer asked the client why he did it. So everything went back to the normal order. Subject, he, and verb, did. Okay? So this is how inversions with question words work. Okay, this can happen when you have question words like who, what, when, where, why, and how. So remember, if you have a clause before the question word, you don't need an inversion. But if you have a normal question, of course, there is going to be an inversion, okay? For example, what are they? That is a normal question. There is an inversion. But in the next one, I know what they are. Well, in that situation, you already have a clause before the question word, so you don't need an inversion. Okay? Okay, here we have some exercises. Okay, so let's analyze the first two, and then you will be able to work on your own. Number 1 says, the phone company is not certain when will the new directories be ready. Okay? So the exercise says that that sentence is incorrect. And the question again is there a clause before the question word? Yes, it is. The clause is the phone company is not certain. So in that case, we don't need an inversion. We need the normal order, subject and verb. So the sentence is incorrect because it has to be the phone company is not certain when the new directories will be ready. Number 2, the professor does not understand why so many students did poorly on the exam. That sentence is correct. Why? Because there is a clause before the question word. So the order of the words is the normal one. Subject, so many students, and verb, did. Okay, take some minutes to answer the rest of them. If you want to go back to see the explanation again, or if you want to pause the video in order to have more time, feel free to do it so we can check answers. Okay, so number 3 says, how new students can get information about parking. Is that correct or incorrect? That is incorrect. Why? Because this is a direct question. A direct question needs an inversion. So, in this case, you will have, how can new students get information about parking? As you have a modal auxiliary verb, the inversion will be modal auxiliary verb, subject and verb. Modal auxiliary verb can, subject new students, and verb get. Number 4 says, where is it cheapest to get typeset copies printed? Correct or incorrect? Okay, this is correct. Why? Because you have a direct question. There is no clause before the question word. And in this case, you need an inversion. First the verb, and then the subject. Okay? Number 5, only the pilot can tell you how far can the plane go on 1 tank of fuel. Correct or incorrect? The sentence is incorrect. Is there a clause before the question word? Yes. The clause is only the pilot can tell you. So we don't need an inversion, so everything goes back to its place. Only the pilot can tell you how far the plane can go on 1 tank of fuel. Number 6, what type of security does he prefer for his investments? Is that correct or incorrect? That is correct. Why? Because it is a direct question. So you have an inversion. Auxiliary verb, thus, subject, he, and verb, prefer. Number 7, not even the bank president knows when the vault will be opened. Correct or incorrect? That is correct. The question is there a clause before the question word? Yes, it is. Yeah, there is a clause. The clause is not even the bank president knows. So we don't need an inversion. So the words are in the normal order. Number 8, how long it has been since you arrived in the United States? It is incorrect. Why? Because this is a direct question, so we need an inversion. Auxiliary verb, has, then the subject, and then the verb. How long has it been since you arrived in the United States? Number 9, the jury doubts what the witness said on their cross-examination. Correct or incorrect? It's correct. Is there a clause before the question word? Yes, the jury doubts, so we don't need an inversion. So the other sentence is in the normal order. The witness, the subject, said the verb. Number 10, do you know why he wants to take an extended leave of absence? Correct or incorrect? It is correct. Okay, Why? Because you have a clause, do you know, right? So, in the next clause, the words have to be in the normal order, subject and verb. Okay? So this is the way how inversions with question words work. If it is a direct question, you need inversions. If you have a clause before the question word, you don't need an inversion and everything has to go back to the normal order. Now let's continue with inversions with place expressions like, for example, there is a TV. Okay? In this sentence, there are the keys that I thought I lost. So, with this place expression there, we need an inversion. If you notice, first we have the verb and then we have the subject. Here is the book that you lent me. Here is another place expression. Okay? So after here, we need an inversion. If you notice, we have first the verb is and then the subject, the book. Nowhere have I seen such beautiful weather. Okay? Nowhere is another place expression, so we need an inversion. As the sentence is in present perfect, we need to have the inversion as auxiliary, subject, and verb. Auxiliary have, subject I, and verb seen. Okay? There are some other situations related to place expressions, and it is when we have a prepositional phrase. In the closet is a prepositional phrase. Why? Because it starts with a preposition. So when you have prepositional phrases, an inversion is needed. Okay? So if you notice, are is a verb and the clothes is a subject. There is an inversion. Another prepositional phrase, around the corner, right? Okay? So you need an inversion. Around the corner is Sam's house. Is a verb and Sam's house is a subject. Beyond the mountains lies the town where you will live. Beyond the mountains is a prepositional phrase. Why? Because beyond is a preposition. And then you have the verb lies and the subject, the town. You need an inversion. So every single time that you have a prepositional phrase, you need an inversion. Okay, let's do this exercise. On the second level of the parking lot, blank. A is empty, B are empty, C some empty stalls are, or D are some empty stalls. Okay, take a moment to answer the question. The answer is letter D, are some empty stalls. Why? Because if you notice, the sentence starts with a prepositional phrase. On the second level of the parking lot, right? It starts with on, that is a preposition. So you need an inversion. Are is a verb and some empty stalls is a subject. Okay? Remember, when you have words like there, here, nowhere, you need an inversion. When you have prepositional phrases, you need an inversion. But what happens, right, when the second clause makes sense without the prepositional phrase? Like in the classroom, I studied very hard. If we eliminate in the classroom, the second clause makes sense. In that case, you don't need an inversion. You need the normal order of the words. I is the subject, studied is the verb. Okay, let's do this exercise. Okay, let's start with number 1 and 2, and later you will be able to work on your own. Number 1 says, in front of the house were some giant trees. The sentence is correct. Why? Because the sentence starts with a prepositional phrase, right? And the second clause doesn't make sense if you remove the prepositional phrase. Saying were some giant trees is illogical. So you need in front of the house were some giant trees. So that's why you need an inversion. Number 2, there a big house is on the corner. That is incorrect. Why? Because when you have there, you need an inversion. So it should be there is a big house on the corner. Okay? Take a moment to answer the other 8 sentences. Decide if they are correct or incorrect. If it is necessary to go back to the explanation, or if it is necessary that you pause the video, feel free to do it so we can check answers. Number 3 says, In the cave was a vast treasure of gems and jewels. The sentence is correct. It starts with a prepositional phrase, but without this prepositional phrase, the other clause doesn't make sense. So you need an inversion. Number 4, to the north, the stream is that the settlers will have to cross. This sentence is incorrect. Why? Because it starts with a prepositional phrase, right? So you need an inversion. It should be, to the north is the stream, is verb, the stream subject, that the settlers will have to cross. Number 5, around the corner are the offices that you are trying to find. It is correct. You have a prepositional phrase, around the corner, okay? And if you notice, the second clause doesn't make sense if you eliminate the prepositional phrase. That's why you need an inversion. Number 6, at the Italian restaurant was the food too spicy for my taste? Okay? It is incorrect. Why? Because if you remove at the Italian restaurant and you leave the sentence without inversion, the second clause, and you say the food was too spicy for my taste, right? Is correct. So remember, in this situation, you don't need an inversion. So it should be at the Italian restaurant, the food was too spicy for my taste. Number 7, nowhere in the world farmers can grow such delicious food. This sentence is incorrect. Why? Because you are starting with nowhere. You need an inversion. So it should be nowhere in the world can farmers grow such delicious food. Remember, when you have a modal verb, the inversion is going to be modal verb, subject, and verb. Number 8, in the backyard, the 2 trees are that need to be pruned. This sentence is incorrect. You are starting with a prepositional phrase. The second clause doesn't make sense if you eliminate the prepositional phrase, so it should be, in the backyard are the 2 trees that need to be pruned. You need an inversion, okay? Number 9, around the recreation hall and down the path are the tents where we will be staying this week. The sentence is correct, okay? You need an inversion because you are starting with a prepositional phrase. Number 10, in the apartment next to mine, a family was that had a lot of pets. It is incorrect because you need an inversion. In the apartment next to mine was a family that had a lot of pets. Okay? Go back to the exercises. Okay? And see you next time. Bye-bye.